minutes over. When do you want to start?
It's a general matter first.
Thank you for everybody for bearing with us through these technical difficulties. I'm reopening the September 23rd meeting of the Town of Auburn Board of Selectmen. This meeting is being conducted both in person and remotely with Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022, which suspends the requirement of open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed to participate remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For the public to join the meeting remotely by telephone, dial 408-650-3123 with access code 235-235-861. Or the public can join via computer at global.gotomeeting.com/join/235-235-861. All supporting materials that have been provided to the members of this body are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. Is there anyone else in the audience recording? Seeing none, because we have some members that are joining remotely, I just need to make sure that members of the select board are all here, but when I call your name, please respond. Mr. Carpenter?
Here.
Mr. Corain?
Present.
Mr. Chambers?
Here.
Ms. Kavanaugh?
Here.
And I am as well. I will let check your members, and then we will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good. I'm Mary DeCoursey. I'm the chairperson of the Library Board of Trustees. Members, when I call your name, please indicate in the affirmative that you're present. Matt Toth,
Present.
Vera Corain,
Present.
Erica Breesacker, Lindsay Baker virtually.
Present.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
So we're here.
Thank you. If you are able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Let me just check and make sure there's no one signed up for public comment first. Okay, we have no public comment, so we do have a joint meeting with the Library Board of Trustees to a potential interview and vote to appoint the candidate Nan Johnson to fill a vacancy. Ms. Johnson, would you like to come up and sit with us? We have some questions. Just at the end is perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Corsi, I will let you start.
We are very excited to have the opportunity to have you back on our, as a member of our board. With over 20 years of past BOT membership in your background, what direction would you like the BOT to go as far as programmatic growth?
I guess I'd like to see some more adult programs. I know the children are well supplied with their STEM and all the children's activities, and I would like to see more adult.
Thank you. Matt?
I'm just wondering, because you've been a part of the board for so long, what are the kinds of things that you might find interesting as you return to the board?
It's hard for me to say what we can do, because years ago, I think the ship passed on our renovations, and we are limited to our space, even though we have plans for a bit of reorganization and an outreach, if you will. Again, programming is such a big thing, and I know we've talked about the Library of Things. There are many, many objects that some of the other libraries that I've visited see. Sometimes there are book clubs led by the staff. I've gone to a mystery book club in Grafton, very well done by the staff. So that's my direction.
I just want to follow. What do you think might be sort of fun or enjoyable about being back on the board?
Just seeing how it can be developed and see the programs that can come along. I'm a townie. I've been here forever. And so books and reading and libraries have been such a big part of my life, my professional life. I just want to be a part of it. I like to see the growth and be a part of that growth.
Yeah,
Covered all the bases.
great.
Really.
Excuse me.
Just a question if, sorry. I was just going to ask if Lindsay had a question, but
No, what I was going to say, it's hard to ask the questions that we'd normally ask a candidate because we know that. I've seen you in the library hundreds of times, so it's not like, have you ever been to the library? Do you
Right.
know anything about it? All those questions that we would normally ask, or, have you made contributions to the community? Or no, those things maybe not everybody on the board, on both boards would know that, but that's what makes it a little more complicated that really don't have many more questions.
Well, I do see changes, and certainly the children's room has been a big change with all the new facilities there. Yeah, no, I think it has grown, it has changed.
Lindsay, did you have a question that you wanted to ask Nan?
I think I'm just, I'm the newest member and eager for really partnering and having some mentorship for senior members and you joining that bill. And you're but eager to hear what new ideas you have. It sounds like you've already given us some clues, but I'm just curious to hear your new ideas as we head into the next.
Lindsay, we're having a really hard time with the audio. I'm so sorry. Is there any way you could put that in the chat?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, she will.
Okay, while Lindsay is
Let's
typing
give her
up hers,
space, yeah.
do select board members have any questions?
Yeah. Do you have any special, hi Nan, do you have any special experiences or skills that will enhance your appointment?
I'm not sure whether having been a trustee for so many years is a plus or a minus, but I've certainly seen the library over a number of years. I was a member of the Friends group back in the 70s or 80s and was so happy to leave the trustees and become a part of the new Friends. They've done a wonderful job reinstating themselves with programs and fundraisers and book sales.
Thank you.
I was just going to say thank you for your willingness to come back and help the board. Appreciate all the efforts that you've done in the past and hopefully after a vote tonight, continued success on the board. So.
Thank you.
So before I ask the question, I just want to, similar to Mr. Chambers, thank you for agreeing to take a second tour of duty on the Library Board of Trustees. I know you served a long time in talking with Matt and Mary and Vera. You love the library probably more than anyone else in this room, second maybe to Matt. But it's, you served as the Library Board of Trustees and then you left that board and went right into the Friends. And you're an active town meeting member. So I just want to thank you for volunteering again in this role. One of the standard questions I'll ask is, do you have any time constraints that would affect your attendance at the scheduled meetings and or any additional meetings as needed?
No, I'm sure I can adjust my retired life to accommodate.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions. I know Ms. Johnson, I ran into her at the library over last weekend. So just happy that you're willing to come back and serve. And I think Auburn needs more citizens who are willing to take a break and come back. So thank you.
I think the Friends are just well-established, and that was my transfer, if you will, to go back and work with the Friends and help them get reestablished. But 2 years, they're at the top of the game, they really are. And now I feel strange coming back to the trustees, but that's an unfinished job as well. And I know they're moving forward, so as you will.
Thank you, Nan. The
you.
Select Board does have 3 standard questions, and we've taken care of 2 of them. I just want to make sure we get all 3 in, and could you tell us a little bit about your interest in serving again?
I thought I covered that with the last statement. My interest in coming back is just to see how the library will move forward. They're starting another strategic plan, I suppose, in 26 through the next 5 years, which will be interesting to see what has been accomplished in the first strategic plan. I can see how the library itself has moved forward under Jean's leadership, but I think there's more to come.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Absolutely, please.
So Lindsay's statement is, since you were on the board in the past, I'm excited as the newest member to learn from you. I'm also glad to hear you have some new ideas and curious what you think might be the most important priorities as we start to prepare for the next strategic plan.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I think an important component was asking the community what they see, how the library followed through on the first plan, where they would like to see it go. The children's room has been remarkable. So many new things. But again, after visiting libraries that have been renovated, I see that it's not possible here, not with our setup. Although I did go into one library that had an automated book drop. I thought that was pretty cool. So we'll have to see what facilities we can develop.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do board members have any additional questions? Okay, I will allow you to start first.
Okay, so I would like to say that with great enthusiasm, I would like to vote for you to return as a member of our board.
Second?
3. Lindsay?
Lindsay is in favor as well. It's in the chat. Thank you so much. This is because we do have one member. I hate to be a stickler on this. Because we have one member remotely, it has to be a roll call vote. So you just have to, everybody's name and then how they vote.
Oh, you want me to do that?
Exactly.
I'm so sorry.
All of us have to,
I'm
yes.
so sorry. I misunderstood. So yes, as the chair of the Library Board of Trustees, I vote in favor of having Nan return to our board. So you identify yourself as your role and your vote.
I'm Matt Toth, a member of the Board of Trustees, and I also support Nan being a member.
Member of the Board of Trustees. I also support Nan's being a member.
And it's perfect. Lindsay has hers in the chat as well. Thank you so much. So for the select board, Mr. Carpenter,
Aye.
Mr. Corain,
Aye.
Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Ms. Kavanaugh,
Aye.
and the chair is yes as well. Thank you so much, Nan, for volunteering to serve, and we look forward to seeing you
Thank you very
at
much.
meetings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience tonight.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I just need a motion to end the meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Roll call vote. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because
Roll
I'm
call.
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay. No problem.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
Mr. Corain,
Yes.
Mr. Chambers,
Yes.
Ms. Kavanaugh.
Yes.
The chair is a yes as well. I'll let you close your meeting.
Very good. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second? We adjourn.
Okay. It has to be a roll call vote. I'm so sorry. I feel like.
Okay. So I vote to adjourn.
Matt Toth, so do I.
Matt Toth
Vera, aye.
And
and Lindsay, I
Is
vote
as
yes.
well. Okay.
Very good.
Thank you so much. Thank you
great.
for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for your patience.
Yes.
You too, I'm just concerned about the edge here. Yep. Yep.
Okay, so moving along in the select board meeting, we have no public comments. We do have a community organization, the Greater Worcester Community Foundation. Is there someone here for that license?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful.
This is Heather Stepp.
Okay, could you tell us a little bit about the event?
Yeah, the event is a nonprofit. The Greater Worcester Community Foundation is a nonprofit organization that is planning to host an arts event for other nonprofit arts programs and community members in Auburn. Sorry, feedback is really, really bad, so I'm trying to.
Sorry.
And we are doing this on October 17th. We are also providing food and alcohol and a dance performance, all nonprofit businesses. So that is what we're doing. I
Thank
hope
you.
that's good.
Do board members have any questions? Is there a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve the license, provided that all applicable requirements of the state and town and any of its departments, boards, and commissions have been fulfilled. Said license is subject to all the conditions stated upon it. Failure to comply with any and all the conditions shall invalidate the license and render it null and void, and with the condition of the DCG to be placed on the license.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is a yes as well. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, bye. Bye.
Next, we have a public hearing for Central Mass Auto Glass. Is there a motion to open the hearing?
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is a yes as well. Is there someone on the call? Oh, great. If you'd like to come up. Hi. Did you want to tell us a little bit about your application?
So we are applying for a repair license to perform glass repairs on vehicles. We'll be utilizing the same facility that we work out of, Munger and Collision, a kiosk that we have set off to the side, but this is so we can process glass claims along with collision repair claims.
Okay. Are there members of the public that have any questions? Do board members have any questions? Is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is a yes as well. Is there a motion on the license?
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve the license, provided that all applicable requirements of the state and town and any of its departments, boards, and commissions have been fulfilled. Said license is subject to all the conditions stated upon it. Failure to comply with any and all conditions shall invalidate the license and render it null and void, with the conditions of the DCG to be placed on the license.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair is a yes as well. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank you.
night.
So our second public hearing is the Century Sportsman's Club annual Haunted Hayride and Spooky Walk. Is there someone here from the Century? Would you like to come up? Is there a motion to open the hearing?
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is a yes as well. Would you like to tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. This will be our 25th year. So over at the Century Sportsman's Club, we have a haunted hayride and a spooky walk. It's open 10 evenings the last weekend in September and the first 4 weekends in October, Fridays and Saturdays, from approximately 7 p.m. till around 10:30 at night. and it's open to the public. And again, this is our 25th year, so
Wonderful. Are there,
changed on our side.
oh, great. Thank you. Sorry, I cut you off. Are there anybody in the public that have comments or questions? Do board members have any comments or questions?
Yeah.
Is there anything exciting and new for the 25th year? Or?
It's different every year. Nothing special for our 25th anniversary, but
But always new and exciting.
yeah, and changes every year. So there'll definitely be some new things there.
Thank you.
And I had a question. I was looking at the map of the haunted hayride and all the different locations that the people can see. Can you tell me about the tunnel?
Sure. So in the past, we had a covered tunnel that we would, try to pump fog into with fog machines and everything. It is no longer covered. There was some feedback from fire. They were concerned about the covering. So it's really just walls. It's still referred to as the tunnel, but it's open top. There is also, the town has asked, public safety has asked that we put emergency lighting and exit signs in the tunnel. So there's exit signs at either end and one outlet in the middle. But again, people are on a hay wagon that's being pulled by a vehicle, so nobody's walking or anything through that area. So they're fairly well contained, and we've never had an issue with anything.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure.
Are there any other questions? Is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is a yes as well. Is there a motion on the application?
Yep. I make a motion that we approve the license, provided that all applicable requirements of the state and town and any of its departments, boards, and commissions have been fulfilled. Said license is subject to all the conditions stated upon it. Failure to comply with any and all conditions shall invalidate the license and render it null and void, and with the conditions of the DCG to be placed on the license.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is a yes as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our third is a hearing for Fiesta shows. Is there someone in the audience or on the call? Is there a motion to open it doesn't appear there's anybody on the online. Is there a motion to open the hearing?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is a yes as well. Do board members have any questions that we perhaps could get back to the applicant, or does the public have any questions?
I just have is this the same business that ran the carnival earlier this year, or it is the same?
It's the same.
Okay. Can I, since the chief is here, if you don't mind, through the chair to the chief, if that's possible, if there were any concerns with the carnival when it was operated about a month ago that you're aware of?
There were no concerns. We had a great operation plan. They were very cooperative with public safety and the police department. They were very compliant with the amount of officers and details that we wanted at that location. Their plan was executed well with the security personnel, and it really went flawlessly. We made 2 arrests during that whole operation down there, and it had essentially nothing to do with Fiesta show, so it was very well executed.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Madam Chair, before the board is going to consider taking any action on this item, it was brought to my attention that the DCG provided a list of conditions that needed to be met before a permit could be approved. The applicant has been reminded twice that they need to file a special permit and record it at the Worcester Registry of Deeds. They have not done so yet, but we will hold them. This is one of the conditions that was placed upon the approval, as recommended by the DCG. So until such time that is done, we would not issue a permit.
There is a requirement that they are here. So, I mean, this has been explained. It isn't fair to everybody else who shows up and certain people aren't showing up. So I don't think we should be taking action on this until the residents, until this gentleman or whoever is fronting this comes in and answers whatever questions may be here.
I would agree. And there are a number of conditions that the DCG put on this permit.
Make a motion that we continue the hearing to the next meeting.
So moved. Seconded, sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is a yes as well. Can we contact them and let them know that someone will need to attend either remotely or in person? Next, we have the Safe Harbor 40B presentation. I do believe she is on.
I'm on virtually.
Wonderful.
Can I please get permission to share?
We don't need.
Jasifa, you do have a PowerPoint presentation, correct?
I think you.
Yes.
You have been made the presenter, so if you want to start your PowerPoint presentation.
Can you all see?
Yes.
Okay, so today I will be talking about the 40B comprehensive, Chapter 40B and the comprehensive permits along with Safe Harbor. So Mass General Law, Chapter 40B. Every municipality in Massachusetts must obtain at least a 10% of its housing stock to go to an affordable or regarded as deed restricted. And this will be for 80% or this is 80% less the AMI. Chapter 40B provides opportunity for developers to bypass this 40%. And then Safe Harbor gives towns a relief in terms of the development for the 10% under the 40Bs. So with the comprehensive permits and the Safe Harbor, municipalities that have less than 10% of its housing stock under the deed restriction is affordable. A developer can legally bypass local zoning and regulation to build more densely. But proposed development needs to happen more long-term, so at least 25% of those units need to be affordable. The comprehensive permit does not waive permitting requirements such as building permits, state highway access, and wastewater. Municipalities can deny a developer in a comprehensive permit by claiming it safe harbor if they have an approved housing production plan, which Auburn is going towards. And I think we do have an approved housing production plan and increase the affordability housing stock by at least 0.5% in the town's housing unit in year one, and then it goes so on and so forth to 1% over
Madam
2
Chair,
years.
I think
which
we need to
already have.
postpone this until this presentation, until people can hear. Through no fault of the presenter, I know I can't hear, and I'm sure the people at home can't hear, and the people in the audience can't hear. So I think we should
So
reschedule.
would you like for me to share the slides with you all?
So we do have the slides. We're just having a bit of a hard time hearing you.
Yeah, I realized that. Should I stop?
Kind of the theme of the day, I think.
So Jasifa, the board has requested that we postpone this presentation probably till the next meeting, when we can hopefully work out some of these audio issues. And it may be advisable if you could actually be present, so we don't have to encounter some of these difficulties that we seem to be having tonight. So we'll give you a call and try to coordinate that for the next meeting. Will that work for you?
Yep. Yeah, that works. Sounds good. Okay, no problem.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Before we move on to the next topic, can I just ask that when the presentation is delivered, that we have an answer to the question at that time whether we qualify for safe harbor? Thank you.
Yeah.
If board members
Or later.
review the presentation and have any specific questions for her, her email address is listed. We can get her a list of what our questions are in advance so she can prepare for those as well. Is that okay with you, Jasifa, if we send you a list of questions before the next? Is she still on?
I think she's on mute.
Oh. Yes, sounds great.
Sorry, my voice is echoing, so I'm just saying that sounds great. I would like the questions ahead of time if you guys have that. And I'll write my email also in the chat.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Make a motion to continue the present. Do we need a motion on that? It's not a public
I don't know
hearing.
that we do since it's not a hearing.
Sorry.
That's okay. So we're going to move along, we'll try some more. We're going to start with departmental items. I know Chief Coleman is also on the call, so hopefully we can hear him.
Good evening, Madam Chair.
So if it's easier, I can just read what the chief said. That way, hopefully, it's
Sure.
easier and we can counteract what's going on
That
with
sounds
our
wonderful.
technology. Dear Select Board, I'm asking you to declare the following equipment from the Fire Rescue Department as surplus so we may dispose of it. The equipment has passed its serviceable life and is no longer compliant with standards set by the National Fire Protection Association. 10 30-minute Scott bottles that were manufactured in 2005 and 2006. They can no longer be hydro-tested or filled. 6 wireframe Scott 4.5 SCBA packs with the serial numbers. If people really want me to say them, I will, but I don't think it's essential.
Do board members have any questions?
Just a question. What is the SCBA pack?
Through the chair, that's the self-contained breathing apparatus. That's the air tank that firefighters wear on their back.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair, what is the expected life of this equipment and have these been exceeded?
Were you able to hear?
Yes, the life expectancy up to 15 years for both the packs and the bottles. After 15 years, NFPA does not allow them to be serviceable.
I'm sorry, could you say again how many years it was?
15.
15?
Yes.
Okay, 15 years.
Thank you.
Nothing else, Madam Chair. I would make a motion that we declare those items surplus as outlined in the letter from the Fire Rescue Department dated September 19th, 2020.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is a yes as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good night.
Moving along to number 8, we have no communications.
We've skipped 7B.
Oh, sorry, 7B. I'm sorry. We have the police department. We have the police chief here as well. I'm sorry.
Happens at home, too. Good evening, Madam Chair and honorable board members.
Hi. So we had asked for a report on Jerome Avenue and Hampton Street. Were board members able to review this? Are there any questions?
Madam Chair, if I may. No question specifically. I just want to thank the chief and his staff for a very comprehensive report. It was very well done. and I appreciate it immensely. And I noticed as I drove through there this morning, and I checked on the way home as well, because I thought maybe my eyes were going, it appears that the Highway Division of DPW is already implementing some of the recommendations from the police department with respect to relocating stop signs to better locations. So that's great to see. I do want to just say that I know the vast majority of crashes occur on 20 and 12 in the town, or 290 and I-90, but you don't have to answer those ones. But I know that after I put this on the agenda at the request of local residents, I was contacted again by others living in the town, reminding me that in their opinion, Jerome and Hampton was not the worst intersection under that is under town jurisdiction. So, and they also, had a very lively conversation with me that reminding me, in case I did not know, of course I do know, that our residents don't necessarily walk or bike or walk their dogs, or their kids don't bike on Route 12 and 20. They walk and bike on the, our local roadways that are under our jurisdiction. This board has no jurisdiction over 12 and 20. We can't make changes even if we wanted to, but we can make changes on local roadways. So at their prompting, I did go and look at the Mass DOT crash portal for the last 5 full years, and just looked at the intersections, and sure enough, they're right. Jerome and Hampton was actually the number 5 when it comes to the number of crashes. There were, I was kind of surprised at this one, but Bryn Mawr at Leicester is actually the highest. Second to Auburn at Packagug. So essentially I looked at the top 10, and I don't want to pile on, but I think this is important work, and I think that this is the kind of work that I like to see in terms of, making positive changes in the neighborhoods where we live to improve safety. And at a future meeting, I am going to put on an agenda item just asking for a similar review of those 10 intersections as well, the top 10 intersections, and to see if there's similar changes that can be made, low-cost changes or more expensive changes. But I think it's important for those quality of life issues within our residential neighborhoods that we look at those intersections. And certainly, I was encouraged by the report. It's probably no good deed goes unpunished for your staff, but it's a great report. And, I think there's probably changes that we can make at these intersections as well to improve safety. So that'll be a future meeting where we'll vote at that, where I'll put that. But I just want to, again, thank you to you and your staff for the very detailed report. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Crane. Through the chairman, I'd like to assure the board that you have a chief that's sitting in front of you that takes traffic and pedestrian safety very seriously. I 100% agree that it is definitely a quality of life issue. You've been very supportive, this board and prior boards have been very supportive of the police department. With regards to staffing, I'm happy to say that over the past couple of months, we have assigned our second traffic officer, who is doing an outstanding job to cover the afternoon shifts. I work very closely with DPW and Joanna Paquin to identify and address other issues. Right now, we're actually working on addressing the intersection of Inwood Ave and Oxford Street North. There was a homeowner down there that was concerned, and some of it was a little bit sensationalized, and I don't mean to disparage the person that reported it because she was very, very helpful, but that particular intersection of Inwood and Oxford Street North is where there's 2 crosswalks, and that crosswalk, I've discussed with the town manager, is very heavily traveled with kids going to school to and from at both those periods of time. And I met with Officer Miglianico, who put together this book report for us, and met with the engineer down at that particular location. We addressed some issues with regards to signage being covered by overgrown trees. The homeowner requested whether or not we could put another flashing radar sign down there, it's probably a very good location for that. That isn't anything that I had in my budget this year on the police department. That would generally be something that would come out of the DPW's budget. And Joanna Paquin was looking to see if that was possible. So we are looking at those particular locations. I can tell you throughout the ranks that I've held at the police department, from patrolman to chief, over my October 8th will be my 30th year anniversary here. Bryn Mawr and Leicester Street is a concern by design, and it always has been. And one of the big problems there, and all you have to do is drive there with a car. A pickup truck won't do it, but line of sight from left to right down there because of overgrowth on the guardrails makes it very difficult. That's the way I go home and come to work every day, and it definitely is an area of concern that the DPW has addressed. But to circle back to Jerome Avenue, the information's in there. There are some changes that could be made to address and enhance the safety down there. I think the DPW is doing a great job. Joanna looked at it. We are not going to be able to change line of sight down there with that fence that's down there at the corner unless it's addressed by the town. That's the biggest area of concern. Joanna had told me that even her plow drivers tell me that they can't see around that intersection until their plows on the big trucks are well into the intersection down there. So the moving of the signage for the stop sign, the alerting that there's an intersection ahead, one of the ideas that I didn't float by Joanna when we just met, but I think it may be a good idea to consider rumble strips in there. I know the town of Charlton did it out at one of their very dangerous intersections, Center Depot Road and Stafford Street, which is a notoriously bad intersection, and the rumble strips alert drivers, with the carving out of the pavement down there, and that may be a good idea for that particular location. But we are addressing all those intersections, and I certainly welcome that. Officer Miglianico and my traffic officers, they spend a lot of times on these secondary roads. I've actually just recently deployed my 3 motorcycle officers to cover school bus safety down there, and they've been doing that. So I think we have a very good handle on addressing speeding and crash data to deal with the citizens' concerns. And I know that is at the top of their priority. I know that and school safety is, and it's been our priority as a police department to address those things.
Thank you so much. Do board members have questions?
So obviously one accident is too many, but is there a threshold where a certain number of accidents you will follow up and ensure the line of sight, or is it every accident you check line of sight and detail those things and bring concerns to DPW, and how does that?
Yes, sir. So every accident is addressed and investigated, and depending on the seriousness and nature is whether or not we'll have a crash specialist go down there and look at it. And as we all know, being in public service, sometimes crashes get the public's attention, but the fact pattern isn't always really what people think. So we can remember the one where the vehicle was hanging over the wall, and it made social media, and there was a lot of oohs and ahs and people talking about other roads in town being dangerous. The fact pattern with that one, the operator blew the stop sign, just never stopped. And it was proven factually. The officer that went down that investigated is Officer Miglianico, who actually generated this report, and he did a download on the vehicle, and the download showed that the brakes were never applied. So that's not a line of sight issue. That's an enforcement issue. That's operator error. That's where generally most of these crashes happen, is operator error, and that operator was cited accordingly for it, for being at fault for the accident. So depending on the seriousness and nature depends on how involved the crashes are. A routine rear-end crash at an intersection we would not generate an officer to do an accident recon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Less of a question, more of a reminder. In my motion last meeting, we were going to have a public hearing on this. So it sounds like Mr. Crane has some data for us, and perhaps we should coordinate before we schedule that with once we get this list, and if any other members have concerns, then we can forward it to the chief, and then we could have a presentation at that meeting.
Sure, and I'd welcome that data ahead of time to take a look at it and have my guys, a few of them that have been to countless schools on these things to do the analysis and print the algebra that's on some of these reports, to take a look at it so I can come back with some comprehensive answers for you. But I wanted to address the board and the town that we don't take this lightly, and it's an issue that we deal with on a daily basis.
Through the chair, I just want to, the DPW director is online with us. I just want to offer her any opportunity she wants to make any remarks or comments.
I'm not sure about the audio. I'm hearing a little bit of feedback.
We can hear you if that helps.
Okay, I'm just hearing a lot of feedback, but I had summarized it very thoroughly. Sorry. It's very hard to talk. As far as the in-one route, and
I'm so sorry, Jana.
It's okay.
We can't hear you, Joanna. We can't hear you anymore.
Okay. Thank you.
If you would like, when we do have a public hearing, if you would like to join then with any feedback that you could give us as well. Thank you.
I'd like to request that she be present for the meeting, just in case things come up and we can address. Because I think, as the chief said, it's not always line of sight. It can be other things, but the things that we can address, I think we should have available to be able to address.
I just have one other question through the chair, if I may, since Dr. Menard is here and the question of the fence has come up. Is there anything in zoning regarding fences on corners that you're aware of?
No, there's nothing specific on fencing, and for a building permit, it has to be more than 7 feet, and that fence is below 7 feet, so that's why there was no permit required at that point, but we're looking into it.
Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you to the chief and the accident reconstruction officer. It's a very thorough report. I appreciate that there are suggestions for enhancement of safety. And it is concerning that plows and trucks can't see the traffic until that truck is in the intersection. So that's definitely something we can follow up on. Thank you.
Welcome.
Are there any other questions? Thank you so much for preparing this report for us and being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Madam Chair, I'm going to make a motion that we move up items 12B and 12C.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. 12B is the HEROES Act. And I believe the Board of Assessors is here.
Madam Chair, if I may, in response to 12B, I know Dory has worked extensively with the assessor's office in combing through that legislation to determine the eligibility of the individuals that we service on an annual basis through statutory exemptions and other clauses that may offer some relief to our veterans. So if I may, I'd like to turn it over to Assistant Town Manager Dory Vecchio, who can give you a summary of her review and how that impacts currently the veterans that we are addressing through the assessor's office.
Thank you. Through the chair, an act honoring, empowering, recognizing our service members and veterans is called the HERO Act, Chapter 178 of the Acts of 2024. Governor Healy signed it into effect on August 8th. And when you review the fact sheet that was attached in your packet, there's really only one large area that affects the town of Auburn as it relates to our day-to-day business, which is the tax exemptions. I have spoken to the assessor's office quite a bit. They've done some research, as did I. There's one area that includes the motor vehicle excise tax, and then there's also two options that are for, let me see. Sorry about that. Motor vehicle excise tax and property tax exemptions. So one of the property tax exemptions, clause 22J, which is one that is brought up in this act, we already have at 100%. So it doesn't look like we need to make any changes in that particular exemption. On the other hand, clause 22I, and I think the assessor's office can also add to this, that one would have to go to town meeting. And what that does is it adds a COLA based on, the CPI each year. So if a veteran falls within a certain, and actually Lisa can explain it better, but each of the exemptions has a requirement. If they fall within that requirement, they get a percentage off based on the CPI. That one would have to go to town meeting. There's one other, which is the motor vehicle excise tax. That actually is going to take effect no matter what. We don't have to take a vote on that. That takes effect in July of 2025. I have to tell you, there is an option to bring that back to July of 2024. I did mention it to the town manager. We can look into that a little bit more if you'd like and see what's necessary, if that's just a Board of Selectmen vote. I don't believe it has to go to town meeting. So that's the basics of the exemptions, and I think Lisa and Seth could probably, if there's anything else that I missed, or if you want to add anything.
No, Dory said it pretty well. I don't know if we just want to open it up for questions, but it is being relatively new. We are running it through the assessor world, if you will. And it's being handled different ways, and it's just, it's a work in progress right now. But in Auburn, as Dory mentioned, the 22J, which is the real estate exemption, we already have an exemption very similar to that, or essentially the same, that gives a maximum amount. And the 22I, just to reiterate, is kind of the same thing, only we would build a COLA on top of it every year. So that's pretty much it. I don't know if there's other questions, thoughts, concerns.
Do board members have questions?
So I do. The manager, when I suggested we adopt it, said this was possibly going to town meeting for the fall special town meeting. Is that the case, or are we pushing this off till May?
This could actually go through the May town meeting. It has to be done by July 1st, though. So either one is fine, but, the May would probably give us plenty of time.
For me, I think that the 22I is important. I think the COLA, similar to the seniors, is something that, frankly, every exemption should have, because, frankly, the whole amount, whether it's the whole asset, estate, or it's income-based, their numbers are so totally out of whack with what is poverty in the country is disturbing. So anything we can do to improve that for all classes of exemptions would be great. But so I would make a motion that should the assessors come up with something for the annual town meeting, that we co-sponsor the article as a board.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chambers?
I had more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I apologize.
No.
So, because I'm not as up to speed as you guys, but you said it's very similar to what we already have. What are the differences, and would adopting this be better to replace what we have, and what benefits or other items related to that? So again, adopting this may be worse or may be better. You said similar, not the same.
I think it's essentially the same. I'm sorry, I was probably just using the words interchangeably. It's
Okay.
essentially the same, the 22
So it's
J.
the same as like the dollar amounts are the same, the max limits are?
Correct. We have a bunch on the 22 on the veterans, and there's a range that starts and it goes up to, by local, option that was adopted years ago, it can double. So that's essentially like the same thing it's probably targeting towns that don't have the local option that was adopted many years ago that could escalate up to, we have a list of all the exemptions if you care to take a look at them.
And
The 22J part of it.
Right.
That he's talking about.
And that's, I just want to make sure, like, because I think adopting it would be helpful, but I want to make sure it's not hurtful. But if we already have it, like, is there a benefit to not? And then the COLA piece, the I piece is something we don't have that we should definitely investigate further.
Right, the 22I is the COLA piece we do not have, and that would be the co-sponsored bill.
Okay.
So the J essentially we have.
And then, again, I'm not as up to speed, but the state reimburses for this exemption, correct? No, this comes straight from the town?
There's some limitations on that. Yeah, there's no reimbursement on the,
On local options, there is no
yeah,
reimbursement.
there's no reimbursement on the,
Okay, there's no reimbursement. And then the motor vehicle piece of this, is there a limit on that? Is it,
I don't think there's a reimbursement for the motor vehicle.
No, the excise exemption is 100% abatement on their excise for the year. They can pick one vehicle.
One
It
vehicle,
has
that-
to be in their name, and the state does reimburse us for those. So they would have to be submitted, my understanding, like Seth said, it's new, but my understanding is it would be submitted the same time I submit to Gateway, which used to be in June, but they upped it to April 30th of every year. So the towns would get that reimbursement.
So I included the sheet. So what we're talking about for the 22 classes, we're talking about, by doing this, we're talking about currently, for 22, there are 88 people, $65,000. For 22C, we're talking about 2,600 in round numbers. 22D, just shy of 69. 22E is 70, say 71,000. By adopting the COLA, you're keeping that exemption in line as our taxes go up every single year, as we all know. So we're talking about small dollars here, but to the veteran or to the user, this is not a huge ask of anybody.
I'm certainly in support of that. And I just, again, when he said similar, I just want to make sure when we're looking at it that there isn't unintended consequences. And then, again, the HEROES Act is new, and I'm assuming things will evolve with it as well. So if we don't adopt that piece of it, do we fall behind in other areas?
Right, so 22J, that wasn't my motion, just 22I for the COLA.
Okay, but my concern, again, is if by not adopting 22J, do we miss out or need to come back in the future?
I believe 22J, according to the fact sheet, is for towns that haven't already adopted the section that the assessors. So this was a second bite at the apple to kind of put it top of mind for those communities that may have not had,
Already done that. Okay.
awareness of this.
And that was my concern when he said similar. So it is the same?
Yeah.
Okay, it is the same. So the I would be the COLA, which I am in favor of. Sorry. We can move forward with that motion.
Okay, and I have a question too, just to Dory. 22I, is there a date it becomes effective?
Yes, that is, so that is July, I think, of 2025 right?
It's going to be for
Fiscal
fiscal 26.
Right.
So that's why they said you could
Right.
vote.
Yes.
Okay, so it doesn't matter if we put this vote on the special town meeting in November or the annual town
Correct.
meeting, because it's going to still be within the deadline, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I just wanted to highlight. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? So there is a motion and a second on co-sponsoring this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is yes as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're moving to 12C, right? It was 12B and 12C that you wanted
Yes,
to move up?
so
Okay,
this is the
12C.
small commercial.
Sure.
So the small commercial, which we know we adopt, is very restrictive at the state level. This would be seeking to pursue, and this would be on the tax levy, and it would be on industrial classes would, even though they don't benefit from it, that would be, so the residential class would not be affected by this, but the business classes would be, or the commercial and industrial classes would be. Essentially, what I would like to see us pursue in this, and obviously I'm open to board member ideas. Currently, the state law says everybody in a strip mall has to meet a very limited $1 million. I would like to see us seek a local option with that change to 50%. Representative Frost and several others actually sponsored similar language to the budget this fiscal year. The other thing that I would like to see us do as a community would be to expand the top amount from 1 to 5 million. So those would be the major changes. It would have to go to town meeting and then to the legislature. So obviously, this would not happen until the annual meeting.
Board members have questions?
Yeah, can you provide us some information on these two?
I also have, like, what would
Yeah.
be the impact to the business and industry class? And what would be the impact to the town in these?
We'd probably have to do some research into that.
Yes, thank you.
I just, yeah, wouldn't know the figures off the top of my head.
No, absolutely.
But, I mean, right now, there's about 60 properties that qualify, and I think it's about 26 million in value, which equates to, 26, I'd have to check the figures, but if it got expanded from 1 to 5 million, it would have to be kind of a deep dive into it, because
Yeah.
off the top of my head, I don't know how many properties qualify or fall into that category that have less than 10 employees and so on and so forth, so. And I'm sorry, Mr. Carpenter, what was the first part? I know you talked about possibly going from a 1 million assessed valuation to a 5 million. What was the first part of your?
First part would be to expand the opportunity. We have a lot of small businesses in strip malls.
Okay.
So if everybody has to comply with the $1 million, a lot of these strip malls don't fall into, a lot of these businesses and these business owners don't get the benefit of it. And they are owned by local people, whether it's Auburn or.
Yeah, I mean, the second piece of that is each business has to have 10 employees or fewer, so I don't know if you were looking to.
We would change
bump
that
the
as well.
employee count,
Yes.
count up, okay, so that's to 15 or whatever,
20,
20, okay.
20, 25. Again, I'm open to board member comments as well. But as we look at how we're going to help small businesses, true small businesses in town, going to a single tax rate is not going to help them to the extent that this will help them. This is a much better targeted approach than trying to go to a single tax rate. So to me, this is a win-win for the town. We're encouraging small businesses, and we're showing the small businesses that we do appreciate them.
Other questions?
Yeah, question. Do we need to have town meeting involved? Can we reach out to our legislators and ask them to support this? I beg your pardon, hold on a second. Yeah, what do we need to ask our state delegation for?
Response to the legislation.
All right, but we don't need town meeting to do that.
No, we do.
You do need
Yeah,
town meeting?
yeah, so town meeting will have to pass an enabling legislation requesting the legislature to exempt Auburn from the normal state law and allow us to provide these extra benefits in terms of the 50% instead of 100% and have to meet the $1 million, increase the $1 million to $5 million. So that would be a special package for Auburn that the legislature would have to pass and the governor would have to sign.
All right.
But that has to come from town meeting.
Yep.
So I have a question on the number of employees and how that relates to their tax bill. So if they have fewer employees, they are truly smaller, or? 'cause
The state has, this is in the state legislation, that's why I think it's unnecessarily burdensome, and it would be better to, first of all, when this was passed in 2000, $1 million for a business probably was okay for a small business, but we're now in 2024, and, well, times have changed. So to me, we're looking at, if I'm reading the sheet, $53,000 is essentially what we're writing off through this, which is wonderful, but we have a lot of businesses that we want to keep in town, and I think that we can also encourage those people who want to start a business to start in Auburn if we can make rents a little easier and make those small property owners have a little more breathing room when it comes to paying the taxes that they would need to pay. So that's why I say it's a more targeted approach.
So this would also, and maybe, again, I'd like to make sure that it's for those that are in the triple net, because I want the tax savings to go directly to those people, not, hey, I've got 10 places in the strip mall, and if I get 2 more small businesses, then I can get a bigger exemption. So
When you say you want to go to, you mean the tenant?
yes,
Currently, it goes to the property owner. I don't know if we could do that, but certainly it might be more work.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably a question for town council in terms of can we actually tailor our taxes to insist that the landlord pass it on to the tenant? Because in a triple net lease, the tenant is paying the taxes. I've never, and that's my concern and my argument against the single rate is that it doesn't go to the tenant. It goes to the landlord. But I don't, in this.
I do not know of a mechanism that would allow for that, whether or not that would even be considered, but something we'd have to take a look into.
And this gets to the part of the motion that most, because, we all have our ideas on what we think would be best, whether it's 50 employees or 20 employees. Obviously with ARPA money and then the different state programs, everyone has a different definition on what a small business is. Some have been 50 and under, some have been 20 and under. The current law is 10 and under, as well as different thresholds. And in here is a motion or a potential vote to create a subcommittee to tailor, work with the assessors to come back with a language for a warrant article and define what this all looks like for us to consider instead of, and I think that subcommittee could take the initiative to look at, is 10 the right number, is 20 the right number, and possibly talk to the Chamber of Commerce and see what our small businesses have for Auburn, since this will be Auburn tailored enabling legislation. So I think, well, we could sit up here and throw out a whole bunch of ideas and numbers and not really move things forward. It might make sense for us to create a subcommittee and along with staff to develop this. And I'd also like to expand it, to be honest with you. Well, I want to help the small businesses. Coming up on about a year ago, we sat here when we were talking about our tax classification, and we said that we really need to look at the residential amount and consider special legislation for that to increase the income levels because it really misses the mark and for some of our families, and I know we haven't moved on that. So I'd like to actually, if we're going to create a subcommittee, I'd like the subcommittee to actually look at all of the tax exemptions and see where we can go to the state, either take advantage of current programs to benefit our residents and what that looks like, or what it would take to go to enabling legislation to get certain approvals.
Yes, and I'm not wedded to any of those numbers. I just put them as a starting point. Obviously, I would listen to the wisdom of the board, or I'm happy to make a motion that we create a subcommittee of the board to look at this and other tax issues.
I'll second that.
With at least two members.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is yes as well. Is there potential members that would like to be a part of that subcommittee?
Well, I guess I should volunteer sometime.
I'm also interested as well.
Okay. So is there anyone else?
I would like to be
Okay.
involved, yep.
Can we have 3 members?
Oh, was that a
Is-
forum?
Yeah, I was gonna, no. So I was gonna say, is there a way as part of that we can have it listed on the agenda and come back and talk about progress? Because I definitely want to be aware of what's going on, but I don't need to be in every meeting. And I certainly have an interest in this, and I think I've mentioned before, if we can get tax dollars, savings for those small businesses, then that is definitely going to help the community, so.
If there are questions, just like as the chair has said, just send them through Sharon, and we can certainly work through them that way as well.
Yes. So can we have 3 board members be on the
None
subcommittee?
on the subcommittee.
Okay, all right.
So is there a motion?
Yep, I'll
Make a motion that we appoint myself and Mr. Corain to the tax subcommittee.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is a yes as well. Thank you so much, Seth, in the assessor's office. Have a great evening.
Thank you, and thanks for waiting to get
Yes.
through all the opening events.
Yes. So we are moving back to select board general items, number 9. We have no proclamations or recognitions. We do have a gift acceptance. Is there a motion?
And make a motion that we accept a donation from Fran Banfill to the library at the discretion of the library director in the amount of $20.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is a yes as well. Moving along to number 10, town manager items.
Madam Chair, thank you. I was expecting the superintendent to join us tonight. She said she was going to participate in this item, but apparently something came up. But as I understand it, after having discussions with the superintendent, the school district was informed of a student transferring from the state of Rhode Island. Some significant special needs. And so as a result of that, as a result of that student coming into our district, there needs to be an outside placement of that student at a cost approaching $300,000 per year that was not expected. They inquired through the state as to whether or not there was a recoup from the state of Rhode Island, and they were told there is not. 100% of that cost has to be borne through the district. As a result of that, the school committee took a vote last Wednesday to authorize and approve the use of the SPED reserve account, which has close to $600,000 in it. We're allowed to set aside 2% of net school spending as a cap that is legislatively approved. We're right up against the cap. We have a full 2% value in there. They're looking to use as an offset for this year $84,270. As I understand it, this student, I believe, is either in 10th or 11th grade, so we have an obligation to educate that student even beyond the 12th grade. I think it's 22 or 23 years old, potentially, if the individual is in need of post-grad educational needs. The school committee did approve it. I did get a confirmation from the superintendent. The SPED law reserve requires not only a vote of the school committee, but a vote of the board as well. So the superintendent is asking that this board consider this vote tonight.
Do board members have questions?
I did watch the meeting. It is an 11th grader, and this is for 90 days. That's all that this amount is for, so they may be coming back to us, depending on if the student, something changes with the student.
Not that it has bearing on that, but is the student in our school district, or they'll be going to school elsewhere?
It's an outside.
Outside.
Still within the state of Massachusetts, or, because you said they were coming from Rhode Island, they'll be going to school in Massachusetts?
As far as I understand, yes.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we transfer, that we approve the transfer from the SPED stabilization transfer fund of $84,270.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is a yes as well. We have no tabled items. We do have one more member item, 12A, and that is the vote to, for a subcommittee to review the process and policies and applications of the board to establish amendments for a liquor license for a business that wants to serve alcohol beverages outside. I think at the prior meeting, both Mr. Chambers and I agreed to be on that subcommittee, and we just needed to have a vote scheduled in our meeting. So do board members have any questions?
Make a motion that we appoint Ms. Ruffley and Mr. Chambers to the subcommittee to look at the alcohol beverages subcommittee.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is a yes as well. So we changed, my understanding is that we can work with Danielle to draft some policies within to the board for a vote. Moving along to number 13, we have no public comments for our second session of public comments. We have no meeting minutes included in our packets. We would just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is a yes as well. We are adjourned.